Hey guys, we are back with our real estate investing videos. I was just getting home from an event tonight and I came over to Ian's apartment and I found him sitting in a pile of papers. And I just started asking some questions and I popped the camera out and filmed our conversation. So we mostly talk about his plans for the new house that he has bought, which is under contract. So watch the video if you want to find out what that means. Some plans for the renovation, and financing. So stay tuned.
Oh, hello.
What are you working on?
You don't know what I just did or what I'm working on?
Is this all secret or?
No.
Okay. Tell us what you're doing.
So I'm working on a secondary suite conversion project in Welland. Bought a house. If you've seen other videos, you probably know. Bought a house, and right now I'm...
Bought a house means that you have it under contract, which means you are allowed to buy it if you get the financing that you want. And are there other conditions?
I had subject to my lawyer's review and stuff.
Okay, so basically it's like if I want to buy the house, I can, but it's not yours yet.
Yeah, I haven't closed on it yet.
Okay.
So we go firm when I have my financing arranged and say, okay, we have no more conditions, we'll close. And then right now I'm laying out the blueprint for the place and what I can do.
So this is what you want to change?
This is what it's like right now, and I've just kind of laid things out so I can visualize things when I'm thinking. And this is the basement. The basement's going to be one unit. The upstairs will be another unit. And
where'd you get these plans? You made them?
I made them. So I measured the property. The one day I told the seller I would like to measure it. I measured it. And then I have to figure out what I can fit in 500 square feet. I need a living room, dining room, kitchen.
What makes it legal? Is it like it has to have, in order, as you said, it's a legal duplex?
It doesn't have to be a legal duplex.
Right.
So I'm considering my options because if you have
it could just be like a roommate situation.
An in-law suite.
Right.
Like if you had your parents living downstairs, but you blocked it off.
Okay.
It's not that it's illegal. I don't know. It's not that it's illegal, but it's not like you've done all the inspections, all the permitting. But to do that, basically there's a list of requirements that you have to follow, and the city comes and inspects it and then gives you a approval.
Got you. And for it to be legal, is it like it has to have a bedroom, a bathroom, and a living space?
There's a lot of
that are certain sizes, or
yeah, you have to meet Ontario Building Code, Fire Code. You have to have a certain amount of natural light coming in to...
Really?
Yeah, natural light coming into the floor
space. How
space.
do they measure that?
Well, you take your floor space, and then you take your window size, and you take that as a percentage.
Yeah.
In a bedroom, you need 2.5% of the floor space. So if you have a 100 square foot bedroom, you need 2.5 square feet. So that could be like a 2.5 square foot.
What if the windows in a basement, you can't actually get sunlight very easily? It's just the size of the window ratio?
Yeah, it's the glazing, it's the glass, yeah.
Okay.
The sunlight still comes through if it's a window.
Okay, right. I'm thinking like direct sun.
No. Hours
like
exposure,
the fact that there's light, period.
No. It's just the window space.
Interesting.
And then you need 2 means of egress. Doesn't necessarily have to be in the bed. 2 means of egress is 2 ways to get out.
Oh.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be in the bedroom. A lot of people talk about, oh, you have to have egress windows in the bedroom. It's not the case. You just need 2. So an exit door, and if you have an egress window in your living room, that's fine.
Is that like a Latin term for something? Or?
No, egress is in English.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
It means that you can, I'm pretty sure it means you can exit through. So you can't have a window that's 1 foot by 1 foot.
Right.
It needs to be
it's not exitable.
No less than 15 inches in any direction. And it also needs to be a minimum of a certain size. So I was thinking through the plans. What I want to do is establish the scope of work.
All of those things that you were just rambling off, where did you get that information?
I got a quote from a contractor for some work. I had a couple contractors come through. But I also just thought room by room what I need to do. And if you start...
Does you all, you have to do these things? Like,
no,
it's not...
No, some of them, I don't have to do anything. But to make it legal, you would have to do certain things.
Right.
But these are the things that need to get done in order to have the house that I want. So I need to get rid of, demo, I need to get rid of existing bathrooms or whatever. So I can put new stuff in.
And are you going to price all of this and add it up and see how much it's going to cost you to...
Done it already, done it probably 10 times. I have a low budget, medium budget, high budget. And
how much is the low budget, roughly?
Depends which route you're going. So if you do a secondary suite, totally legal, or you build an in-law suite, or you keep it as a single family home.
And how are you going to decide what to do with it?
ROI. So that's return on investment.
Yeah.
So basically I'm going to look at what I need to put into it, what I can get out of it. I had a dinner.
And get out of it meaning sell
Cash
or get out of
flow.
it cash flow? Both.
If I wanted to sell, how much profit I would make. I don't
Right
want to
now
do,
you're leaning towards fixing it up and renting.
yeah, I'd
But
fix
there's
up the
also
upper.
the possibility that you fix it and flip it and sell it.
Yeah. I think what I'm going to do is fix up the upstairs, fix up the downstairs, separate the units, rent them out. So,
This is what it looks like. You're gonna paint the outside?
nope.
No?
It's gray outside, needs a little bit of a roof job. I've laid everything out. We can talk about financing.
Okay.
Pass me the sheets over there. On the topic of financing, Olivia's asking me about the financing for the house, how you buy it, how you get it. So one of my conditions for buying the house with the seller was I have to get approved at the bank for a mortgage because I'm not buying it in cash. And I have most of the money myself, but I will need money for renovations.
You just need the down payment right now though.
Yeah,
Which is how much?
$64,000.
That's the down payment?
20% of 320.
What?
The dog's being sick back there.
$64,000 is down. What?
20% of 320.
Well, when you bought your first house, what was your down payment?
I did 5% of 217,000.
And why were you allowed to do 5% and now you have to do 20?
I can do 5% in this one.
Why the frig not do that?
Well, the answer is
Holy heck.
when you do 5% down, it's called a high ratio mortgage.
Uh-huh.
So the bank is lending you 95% of the purchase price because you're putting 5% down. So 100% of the purchase price.
Okay, sorry, I thought you were talking about 20. Okay, yeah, I got it.
Yeah, so under 5%, you have.
Because they own more of it than they would.
Well, they
with
still own the
20%.
whole thing,
No,
sort of.
but like with the 20%.
It's a higher risk, let's say, because you're not as invested.
Yeah.
And so the CMHC, which is Canadian Mortgage Housing Corporation or something like that, they basically make you pay an insurance premium so that if you default on the mortgage, that the bank doesn't get screwed over. It's not actually to protect the homeowner, it's to protect the bank.
Okay.
So if I put 5%,
That's if you pay 5%, you
I
pay
have to
this
pay
insurance
CMHC.
thing.
And CMHC is a percentage of the purchase price up to like 0 to 500,000, 500 to a million.
Okay.
And I think once you're over a million, you have to put 20% down. Because like you shouldn't be buying $1 million plus home
Right.
if you don't have the 20%.
Right.
Tiered
So
thresholds.
when you go and you want a mortgage, you
Mm-hmm.
decide what percentage you want to put down, or do they tell you?
It can be both. It depends on your credit, depends on your debt servicing. So if you put 5% down, your payment on the mortgage is going to be higher
Right.
because you have more of a loan.
Naturally.
If you have 20% down, you owe less on the mortgage. You only owe 80%
Right.
as opposed to owing 95%. And so your payment's going to be lower with 80%.
Right.
And then,
Yeah, because if you set it out over the same terms, like 5 years and 5 years,
Mhm.
if you owe 95% of the house or if you owe 80% of
Right.
the house. Okay.
and so they're going to use your income to qualify you and say, can you afford the mortgage payment? Can you afford the taxes? Can you afford heat?
Does the fact that you already own a house and you have bill payments for that, does that have any effect
Mm-hmm.
on how much they want you to put down for this particular mortgage or otherwise?
Not on this one, because I have my other house and it's a rental.
Mm-hmm.
That rental income gets used against that property's mortgage and taxes and heat and bills.
Against it, meaning if you
Meaning-
had a $2,000 mortgage payment and you were collecting $1,500 in rent, it uses it against it, so you just have to be able to come up with $500.
Yeah. So like my rents over there are double my mortgage payment, but then you have bills and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And so that property cash flows enough to pay for itself and actually provides me additional income,
Right.
which they can use to qualify me for higher income.
But they're not worried about the fact that you owe money on that house.
They are
and-
to a degree, but because that house pays for itself, they're
It's
not
okay.
exactly. Yeah. And certain banks, they'll be different. So like one lender might say, yeah, we're cool with that. Another might say no.
Okay. And that would be based on bank policy?
Yep.
Or
Their
just
level
people
of
let
risk,
you know?
bank policy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you need $64,000.
Mm-hmm.
And how are you going
Now-
to get 64?
For that, I could do it with 5% down
Uh-huh.
and just claim that I'm going to live there.
Right.
And then I would be
Why
16,000.
would 5% down require you claim that you live there?
because you cannot purchase a investment property or a rental property with 5% down. It needs to be a primary residence, as far as I know.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you can, if you're going to live there yourself, you can get some of that money gifted. like if your parents want to gift you the money or a sibling.
Okay.
So they'll use that, like if basically they're gonna look at your bank statements and go, do you have the cash?
Right. But you're not going to live there yourself. So what are you
Right.
doing for this one?
Saving and working, basically.
We don't believe in that.
Yeah. So basically saving and having worked and saved.
But then we also talked about the fact that you wanted to pull equity from your house.
Yeah.
So you want to get your house
So I would like to
refinanced.
Mhm.
And then based on its new value, you can take cash from the fact that it's worth more now.
Right.
And like literal cash and put it towards something
Yeah.
else.
So the way my mortgage is set up on my first rental property, I started with a certain value of a mortgage, and as I pay that down, anything I pay down, they're able to give me back for whatever reason I want. So let's say you have $100,000 you start at.
Yeah.
If you start at 100 and you pay down over a year and you get to 90,000, you've made $10,000 in principal payment.
But then you're like, I need $10,000. They just bump you back
Back
up to 100.
Yeah.
Okay.
My payments will go up because
Right. It's back to the original, but
or maybe my payments don't go up, but my interest payment is higher than my principal payment.
okay.
So I'm paying it down slower.
So
again.
you can go up to what you started at, or you can go above it by refinancing.
Right. So what I wanted to do is, I don't care that I'm paying interest on the money that I'm borrowing because it's all towards investment. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll refinance their house and they'll get $20,000, $30,000 out of it, and then they'll buy a car in cash, or they'll buy a boat, or they'll buy something that's like not an investment.
Okay. I just want to make sure that refinancing is really clear because sometimes I still feel confused about it. So if you bought a house for $100,000 and whether you put improvements into it to make it worth more, or the housing market just
Took off
and houses were worth more. If your house was worth $100,000 when you purchased it, you can just ask an appraiser or a mortgage broker. Who?
You can go to a mortgage broker, you can go to the bank and say,
And
I want to
you
refinance.
Ask to get your house refinanced, which is basically come and look at how much my house is actually worth now. So then if the appraiser or the mortgage person came in and said your house is actually worth $120,000, then essentially you can, how much cash would you get? How
There's a
much cash could you
there's a
take out of it?
$20,000 increase rate from 100 to 120.
Yeah.
And so typically a bank, depending on your credit, depending on a lot of factors, will give you 80%
Of the increase.
of the increase or of the new value, depending on how you look at it.
Of the increase,
Yeah.
they'll give you a little teeny tiny bit of it.
They give you 20%. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's say the house was worth
Oh, they'll
100.
mortgage up to 80% of the
Exactly.
new value, and you can take 20%.
Yeah, basically. So of the 120, if you multiply that by 0.8, you get 96,000.
Cash?
No, that's the
That's the
loan.
mortgage.
That's what they're gonna hold on the mortgage.
Okay.
So if you owed
So you don't
100
get 96,000.
no, it goes towards the mortgage.
Yeah.
And then 120 minus 96,000 is 24,000.
So that's how much you could take in cash to go do anything else with.
Yeah.
Okay. So some people refinance their houses so that they can go buy a car, or just so they have extra money, because now the bank is basically saying you have a more valuable asset, so we'll give you cash against that asset.
Because the bank is still secured, because they have 20% buffer if they want to, if you don't make your payments, they take the house back and they sell it. So
Finance.
come up with a down payment, or if you can't come up with a down payment, you can get a joint venture partner.
So the conversation that you were just watching actually continued for roughly another 10 or 15 minutes or so. We got to talking about joint venture, making the rules and the contracts around that. And we started talking about credit cards and building credit and what you need to get a mortgage. But this video is getting a little bit long, so I decided to cut it there. Feel free to message or let me know if there was anything in this video that we missed that you want a little bit more information on. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for next time.